We are happy to race the next days, and we are looking forward to the World Championship and give it all.
Everyone is super friendly, we can race in great conditions.
Thank you, Oman Sail, for bringing this event to Oman.
Good luck for everyone for this weekend.
Welcome back to Oman. It all comes down to the next 2 hours of racing. We've got 3 medal races to look forward to in the 49erFX and Nacra 17 World Championships 2021. Hi, my name's Andy Rice, and with Chris Musler and Nora Ruskula, we are going to be bringing you the action from these final 3 medal races, each expected to last around 20 minutes or so. It's the top 10 boats from each of those fleets. They're going to be racing it out in a double points, non-discardable race. Nora, the medal race, does it come with some extra nerves, would you say?
Definitely comes with some extra nerves, especially the boats that want to, match race a specific boat.
Okay, so we need to watch out if there will be any match racing. We thought there might be some match racing going on between the top 2 in the 49er, but then there was a protest just in the last hour. There was a port starboard incident downwind when the Dutch were trying to get across the front of the Danish team, didn't manage to execute, had to jibe back, and by the time they were getting in the way of the Danes, who then successfully protested them. This resulted in disqualification for the team that have been leading this World Championship for the last few days, and it now relegates Bart Lambrieux and Floris van der Werken down to second place, and they should have been going in 2 points ahead. They're now going in 8 points behind the new leaders, Tim Fischer and Fabian Graf from Germany. This is a disaster for the Dutch, surely, isn't it, Chris?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they've been sailing so strong all week, and absolutely, almost flawless sailing. They've been behind, and they've been just very quickly working just very slyly through the fleet, but I think they have extra modes. I know it probably hurts because everything means a lot to these sailors. This is a world championship. It's the first world championships since Tokyo, and there are no former world champions in this fleet. So if I would say that this team is relaxed and not worrying about that, I'd be wrong. I think they're really upset probably about that result, but they're champions. We'll see how much champions they are today.
Well, they've got a bit of a mountain to climb. They've got 8 points gap. That means 4 places on the race course that they've got to put between themselves and the Germans, who they need to have some way behind them. And then the team that initiated that protest they're up into 3rd place overall. That's Frederik Rask and Jakob Prek Jensen. They're 8 points back on the Dutch, who they protested. So that's closed the gap between silver and bronze, and that does give the Danes an opportunity to go on the attack again on the Dutch. But again, it is a 4-point gap that they're going to need to pull back on the race course. And sitting outside of those guys, just outside the medals at the moment, but still with a chance of getting into the medals, are the likes of USA 84, Ian Barrows and Hans Henken. It would be a long time since the USA won a medal at a World Championship in the 49er, I reckon.
I can't think that far back, unfortunately, for our country. But one thing I do know is that Ian Barrows and Hans Henken, I've been speaking with Ian every single day, what a relaxed and positive guy he is. And Hans is very quiet but very deliberate crew member. And, they only dropped, what's their throwout race?
It was a 22nd in the final race,
22nd in the final race. Until then, their throwout race was a 13.
Yeah.
So, but still, really positive. I think teams like that, that haven't been, in medal contention before, or maybe have kind of scratched at the door of it, they've got nothing to lose. And I think there's a big difference between them and then other teams that have been there and done that, and they still haven't gotten there, and a little bit more pressure on themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. We're also going to be looking at the Nacras a little bit later on. And we've got the reigning world champions sitting in pole position, John Gimpson and Anna Burnett. Nora, we saw a great race from the Germans, and they've closed the gap. Paul Koloff and Alissa Stulema winning that race by 650 metres earlier today. If they can do that again, I don't know if they will be able to do with only 10 boats on the race course, but maybe there's still a chance of them getting the world title.
Yeah, that'll definitely a huge confidence boost to win the previous race like that. And it was just like roughly an hour or 2 hours ago when they will sail. So
you spent some time with the sailors just now. They're trying to relax as much as they can before they have to get themselves up again. What is the skill to being able to sort of raise and lower the tempo like that?
Well, it's a difficult skill, and I can believe some of the sailors not even trying to lower the tempo. Sometimes it's just so tricky, and you're just gonna go with it. Like, if your goal is to lower the tempo, just be trying to get the calmness. Maybe that's not possible some days, so you just have to go with it and trust the process. Like, no, you have all the skill and you have done it before, or something like that.
Some people are sitting there in beanbags listening to music, some people are just having a chat, some people are playing table tennis, other people playing cards, some people doing protests. Not the most relaxing way, is it?
Definitely, I would say protest is the worst thing to be doing during these times.
So we are just coming into the start sequence very shortly for the 49erFX. That's who's going off first. Then we'll get to the 49er, and we will conclude the afternoon's racing with the Nacra 17. So in the FX, well, that's the one that you know best, Nora. We've got the Dutch. We thought it was going to be Dutch leading in the 49erFX and the 49er, but for reasons we've just explained, that's not going to happen. But in the women, Adele van Aanholt and Elise de Ruyter are leading by 10 points ahead of the Norwegians. That's a pretty useful lead to take into a medal race.
That's a really useful lead. So I think they will just go for it. Probably try to control the fleet a bit if possible, and just stay as close to the top as possible.
I did see them walk by after their last fleet race, and walking quickly but laughing, and her and her crew and their coach from the Netherlands, really just like all week, really good spirits, happy, but they're moving quickly. They're not like just gliding along. They're like deliberate.
That's nice to hear.
So we are inside the final 5 minutes. I think we got about 4 minutes to go until the start of this race, when we've got the top 10 in the World Championship about to race it out. So on 69 points, we've got the Dutch, Adele van Aanholt and Elise Ruyter in the lead. 10 points behind them on 79 points, Helene Ness and Marie Ronningen from Norway. Behind them we have the reigning Olympic champions from Tokyo just 3 months ago, winning the gold medal, Martine Grael and Kayena Kunz. They are 7 points behind second place on 86. And then sitting some way back in fourth place, 16 points behind the Brazilians, are the Finnish Ronja Gronblom and Vera Hokka. And they have quite a bit to do if they're going to get into the medals. So by and large, it's going to be hard for the rest of the fleet, for the other 7 boats, to take the medals away from the Netherlands, Norway and Brazil. But the places are perfectly able to be changed around, so no one has got it that safe. The Dutch, certainly that's where you want to be, 10 points in the lead, but they are probably the least experienced. They certainly are the least experienced, actually, of the top 3. Nora, who's got the what's the word? Like the experience for the big occasion?
Yeah, the experience, definitely. The Brazilians got it, the 2-time gold medalists at the only Olympics that have been the 2 only in the 49erFX class. And after the Brazilians, I would say the Norwegians are the 2 strong teams. I would say they got the nerves to do this, or got the nerves. At least they have the experience, been in many medal races and done really well in previous regattas and Olympics. So Yeah, I'm gonna look after them, but I do believe in the Dutch as well. As Chris said, like they're pretty calm and like I think they can pull it off.
We've got about 2 minutes 20 until the start, and look how early they are lining up. You wouldn't know that there's still more than 2 minutes to go to the start.
I would like to mention, the Finnish, the new girls on the block. Kind of, this is their best event so far. Even they're fourth, they're just like knocking on the door for the medals. But let's see if they. I think they're really good at taking good starts, so we can see them shine if they do a good start and get to the top. They have a really good possibility. Let's say I have seen the Brazilians or the other teams like do too badly in some medal races, so that can always happen if it's too nervous.
Well, let's watch out and see if the Finnish team can start well. At the moment, it's Canada that is the nearest boat. We often see the Canadians, the sisters, they seem to like the left-hand end of the line.
They do. We have noticed it quite many times here.
Even at the top level, sailors seem to fall into a pattern of using the same kind of start on many different occasions, and I think that's a slight weakness that we see unless you believe that the conditions are the same every time. I think you do need to be able to mix up your starting strategy, but we'll see. Sometimes we've seen the pin work out to be very strongly, like we did earlier today with the Nacras and the German Nacra team winning the pin and converting that small advantage at the start to 650 meters by the finish. But sometimes we've seen the middle of the fleet lift off from the pin end starter as well, as the middle of the fleet has found better breeze in the middle of the course. But the Finns that you were talking about, Nora, they're fighting hard for the starboard end up near the committee boat, as are the Brazilians. They look like they're fighting for an early go right kind of start.
Yeah, and despite like even though you see the flag clearly the Finnish flag or the Brazilians close to the line, that doesn't mean necessarily they're going to take a good start. They're just really close. But let's remember, if you're too close, you can't accelerate well enough, and then you will lose to the teams near you. So
final 5 seconds, here they go, just about to get launched, and off they go. And a good start for Canada with lots of space around them. Good for Belgium, and USA really poked out. We wait and see if there are any recalls. I don't see a recall flag on the boat, so it looks like it was a clean start, but we will get back to you and confirm that. Not a great start by Brazil. They surely are going to tack out soon, and that's what they do right now. And Italy and Spain also in second row, but good start, as you predicted, Nora, by the Finnish team up at the far end. They seem to have good breeze. They've now tacked out to the right. I don't know if that was by choice or because they were forced to do so, but they are in control of their destiny there.
The US girl might have pinched them out, but let's see. We've seen that the right side have been working, so it will be interesting to see will they come better in the end anyway, going to the right? Is there more breeze? Anything? The Canadians look really good here, taking a start.
The one thing that you can't see in this screen is that off to the right, Finland and Brazil are leading the fleet. Really, Brazil is leading the fleet off to the right side. And the last time we saw Brazil do that, it was about, it wasn't exactly this time of day, but it was later in the day as the sea breeze was more developed. And that breeze, if it's a true sea breeze, that the breeze would come into the right a little bit. So let's see, we've been in a little bit of a left pressure, not necessarily a left phase, but now the boats are starting to come back and consolidating. Most of the fleet now is on port tack. And let's see, the boats that are leading out to the right, let's see if the phase is going to go back right now, if it's going to go back and forth.
Very split between the two sides at the moment. We've got a bunch on the left and a bunch on the right, and pretty much evenly divided. Out on the far right, we've got Brazil, the reigning Olympic champions, going out towards the right-hand side, along with Finland and Spain, amongst a couple of others. And meanwhile, on the left-hand side of the track, most boats have now tacked on to port tack, and amongst those, the ones to watch are Adil van Aanholt and Elise Reuter. Netherlands 65 with just to leeward of them USA 3 Stephanie Robel and Maggie Shea, who are outside of the medals at the moment and unlikely to make it into the medals this time, but still going to be fighting hard and making life difficult for the Dutch in that position at the moment.
So basically the next thing that could happen is that there's right shift. At the moment looks like a left shift, so there could be a right shift or some more breeze on the right side, and that's how the boats on the right side will pass the boats on the middle. But it's tricky because the boats in the middle here they continued a bit after the start and now tacked. They're really close, and it looks good for them. They're kind of like controlling the fleet on the right.
And we have now, it looks like Brazil just tacked. Yep, Brazil just tacked back on the starboard. It's not a super strong consolidation for them, but just underneath them, I think it's the Finnish team. I'm trying to see who that is.
It was the Norwegians tacking.
So those are the two boats that it really matters in this race.
Yeah.
The Netherlands actually has a little bit of a break. No one's messing with the Dutch, and the two boats that really need to beat each other are Norway and Brazil, and they're right next to each other. So that's going to make this race pretty awesome to watch. We talk about people match racing for positions. These two are not happy unless they get the silver medal.
And when we talk about match racing, they can still like match race with a fleet race thought, not like proper match race and go all the way to the right or in the back where no one else and lose to the whole fleet. This is basically match racing so that they only tack on each other and being close, but still racing against the fleets.
Right. And this is a small fleet, so you are exactly right. This is a phase right here. We started in a right phase, then it went and now it's we started. It was in the left a little bit. Now it's going back right, and everybody's on starboard.
So the boats on the right-hand side look like they're going a little bit higher than the boats to the left. We see one just tacked there. That's Norway that we're looking at coming towards us right now. And behind them, Brazil. So Brazil fighting to keep its air clean with Spain to windward of them. So with both of them fully stretched on the trapeze, it looks pretty good for Helene Ness and Mary Ronningen front of picture. And they are in the controlling position compared with Brazil right now in this battle for the silver medal, assuming that the Dutch are doing enough to stay in the gold medal position, of course.
Andy, as we watch these boats go upwind, the Norwegian team, tell us a little bit about, nothing too specific, but about their boat. A lot of these teams weren't able to get their boats here in time because of global shipping issues.
It's a charter boat from Abu Dhabi from the 2014 World Cup finals, when Abu Dhabi bought a whole fleet of boats, and they've sat there pretty much unused for the last 7 years, and rather go to the expense and hassle of bringing their own boat to the Worlds. They're using a 7-year-old boat that they'd never seen before, and they've just put it together and gone racing, and here they are still in contention for the world title. And that I think it's got them scratching their heads and a lot of the rest of the fleet scratching their heads. Why does everyone go to such effort to perfect their own gear when the Norwegians can turn up and just use charter gear and be coming second in the Worlds?
And Brazil just couldn't take it anymore. That's a good sign for the Norwegians, who are really trying to put their stamp on this, at least the silver medal here. But let's see what the tracker says. Sometimes when you put the hurt on someone and send them off in another direction, they come back and happen to get some favor.
Let's come back to that. Nora, what was that tack like for the Norwegians?
So I was just looking at Chris. I couldn't see the tack.
Oh, it was a beautiful tack.
Oh.
Actually, not it's really light, and they've just fell back a little bit. The crew had to come in a couple times to adjust something. Something might have been caught, and now they have to tack back on the starboard with the Spanish. So
it looks like the Spanish will almost roll over. I'm sorry.
Exactly, I think they will, and I think this happened right up near the triangle. We have our first place around right now.
That's Spain going round now. It's going to be close between Norway and Finland, but it's going to be second round for Norway, closely followed by Finland getting their blue. Jenica up in third place, and now it's tight for the Dutch on the right hand side of picture. Can the Dutch squeeze up to get around the mark? It's going to be Italy that roll round the top of them in fourth place. The Dutch going around in fifth, and only just getting away with it, but going straight into a roll jibe and into a jibe hoist. Around go France, Brazil, USA, and bringing up the rear, it's Canada and Belgium. So you can see the Dutch sailing away from us there. They've gone into a jibe set. Meanwhile, in the lead, we've got Spain. Suarez, Cantero, Izquierdo in the lead with a bit of an edge on Norway. Norway, remember, they're second in this race. They're also second overall in the World Championships at the moment. And they've got Brazil behind them. Norway don't have enough boats between them and the Netherlands, who jibe set onto in about 5th place. So at the moment, Spain is leading the race. Norway is second, going into a jibe behind the Spanish, and they are holding 2nd place overall.
Yeah, I can see more jibes here. That's something I wouldn't think they... Oh yeah, maybe there's some wind since there's quite many boats jibing here super early.
Brazil has jibed as well, but Brazil looks a bit soft for breeze there, and Brazilians, the Olympic champions, have a lot to do if they're going to improve on bronze medal position.
Yeah, Brazil is on the same side of the course as Norway, and there's 7 points between 2nd and 3rd, between Norway and Brazil respectively. So that's what something big needs to happen for Brazil, not only to just get in front of Norway, but also most of the fleet between them and Norway. It doesn't look good, but the wonderful thing about the medal race is that it's really a magical high pressure event. This only happens once a year, you know, and for a world championship, and so it's now or never for those two teams, and maybe the distance is just too much, but right now the boat with all the pressure on it is Brazil, not Norway, not the Netherlands, and not anyone behind Brazil. So let's see what they do with all that pressure, the 2-time world champion.
So now, looking at the tracker, it's really interesting. The Finnish have taken a jibe set, and they were leading the pack going to the right. With them, Netherlands that were escaping the Brazilians and the Norwegian girls.
So it's going very close between the top 2 boats, and is this Finland's opportunity to overtake Spain for the lead in the medal race, the final race of these 49er FX World Championships? We've already had 15 races. This is the 16th and most important decider of the world title for 2021.
Yeah, and like Brazilia's chances at the moment during this downwind don't look too good. Unfortunately, they're in the middle. I like Netherlands' approach of going a bit further away as the Norway. Norway and Netherlands took both each side when the Brazil continued to, you know, be more in the middle. So that's for them not a good position. But I think they'll have the. Let's see if they can manage to do a good gate rounding and how they approach the gate. I think now the fleet is kind of like coming back together again just before the gate. So we will see how they round the gate. Will they, you know,
the
be covered
Brazilians
by...
are probably wishing there's more traffic. There's only 10 boats on this race course, so there's not as much bad air or congestion at the leeward gates. So that makes it even harder for Brazil to catch up, I think. Spain dropping their Jenica and going upwind towards the right-hand side of the course, and now it's up to the Norwegians to decide what they do. They're also going to go follow round the leaders in 2nd place for Norway, 2nd overall in the championship at the moment.
Beautiful rounding for the Norwegians. It's awesome to see them come in on starboard and take down in the middle of the jibe and just make the turn. It was beautifully done. That's kind of why they're sitting in 2nd overall, because they've just been sailing so smooth all week.
They sailed really well. Oh, there might have been some protest there. You see the Norwegian girl Helene, she was lifting her hand and shouting probably something. The Italians came with the kites, maybe a bit too close, but we don't see the jury doing anything, so...
Brazil going round now on the far side, still with a lot of catching up to do. France 503 coming out this side, but slow to get the main sheet on the French boat. Belgium much faster rounding from Belgium at the back of the fleet, and USA going round. An immediate tack from Brazil going out to the left-hand side. They've got to force something. They've got to go a different way from the other boats ahead of them. So Brazil forcing a split between themselves, and Norway still sailing out in 2nd place towards the right-hand side, following Spain, who are still leading this race at the moment.
Yeah, and now Norway wants to make as much distance as possible and boats in between Netherlands and Brazil, because they want to have them behind. Netherlands and Brazil is at the moment going to the left and Norway to the right. So will they continue going right and hope for the best, or do you think they'll try to go with Brazil and Holland on Netherlands to the left?
The one thing that I do know is I'm looking at a little cheat sheet trying to figure out if there are any changes in the overall scores, and the top 3 have not budged in terms of as things stand right now in the overall scores as things stand right now in the fleet. So it's pretty tough for Brazil to do anything here, but the fleet is actually starting to level up on this beat. I'm very surprised where Brazil is standing after a very slow tack around that leeward right mark. But like we talked about, this magical things can happen, and champions really work really hard to make something happen. Do you know those times, Nora, when you just have to try to make something, fabricate something?
I'm about to say that I think the Brazilians just, I was looking at them like, oh, they just have to tack, like they just have to make something happen. Unfortunately, it's, they're all the way to the left now, trying to go all the way to the right, probably, maybe on a lift and tack even, but it looks tricky for them.
Yeah, they're against the grain right now. But the one thing we did learn from that beat was that it was an oscillating breeze. It went one way, went the other way, and came back again. So that's a couple shifts just to work on there. Brazil's going against the grain. Looking at the tracker, it looks you have a crossing situation, but tacks look pretty even.
Yeah, the Spanish look though, it looks like they're looking really good with the tack. Maybe a right shift at the moment.
The Dutch on the left of screen, they are fighting for the lead in this race now, but I'm surprised that they're coming so far over into the extreme of the course when their main opposition is the other way. They've already got a points lead on Norway and Brazil, so I thought they'd be sailing a little bit more defensively, but the Dutch seem to be sailing their own race over here. Maybe they're going for the race win. Maybe they want the glory of the medal race, crossing the finish line in first as well as winning the world title.
Yeah, they don't have a ton to lose right now, so when you think about that conservatism that we've talked about all week of consolidating a lead, controlling the pack, and if someone wants to go out on a flyer, that's up to them and going for the win. But right now, Netherlands is sailing with an awful lot of confidence. If they want to go for the win, go for it.
Yeah, the only thing at the moment that's like could change the leaderboard, I would say, is protest situation. They cost quite much. Something like this, the Canadians, they couldn't cross Italy, but if they would try, and something would go wrong, the other one would protest 100%.
But isn't everything decided on the water with on-the-water umpires?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
For the
But it
medal
just
race.
costs a lot.
Yeah.
To do a 360, but yeah, that's true.
So we got Belgium front of screen. We've got Brazil trying to play catch up. Brazil are making inroads back into the fleet. Both boats tacking there, Belgium and Brazil tacking at the same time. But you can see Netherlands on the left with Canada and Italy following the Netherlands. So the Netherlands are sailing quick. They are leading the pack on the left-hand side, and they might even be overtaking Norway as well. So it's been a good move by the Netherlands on the left-hand side. I thought it was a little bit extreme, but it seems like it was extreme in the right direction.
Yeah, right now, 6 points, as things stand, 6 points separates the Dutch and the Norwegians. So that's the kind of swing to get gold. It's like almost impossible, just like Martina Grael. Right now it's almost 20 points. This is considering the double point score. So,
And the Brazilians struggling to find any good lanes to take just more advantage, take a lead.
Yeah. Now we're getting into miracle territory for the Brazilians and also for the Norwegians. But again, as the way things stand right now, 6 points separates the Dutch and the Norwegians in the scorecard overall.
Norway have to be careful here. They're on port tack. Can they get in ahead of the Spanish and take the lead, or are they going to have to duck and try and find a space to tack before the Finns? That's what they're going to do. So Spain stay in the lead. They're going to lead around the mark yet again, and Norway going to maintain their second place, with the Dutch looking to slot in somewhere just behind Finland. So Finland's going to maintain third place, and the Dutch have climbed a little bit up to fourth, which is plenty to keep them in position. But Brazil, let's give them some credit, they have actually closed the gap. It's not going to be enough because the two boats they need to beat are still ahead of them, but Brazil at least have close the gap. And I think runway is running out for anything really to change here. So I don't think we're going to see the medals change position. But Nora, why have Brazil jibed where they did?
They jibed there. That's the only possibility they can do. And this is what they were looking for all upwind. You could see they tried like different corners, but they just couldn't get there early enough. So it's always nice with downwind. You get like a new start and you can do the jibe sets when others are continuing here. So they'll get some distance. They want as much water in between as possible to make a huge difference quickly. But it's always a risk, as we said earlier.
It's not much of a risk when you haven't got much to lose,
true.
is it? So
No,
I mean,
yeah.
it's sort of the only risk worth taking at this stage.
Exactly. It's a risk, but worth taking indeed.
The one thing that we're looking at here is the way things stand right now is between third and fourth place is 10 points separates them. To move up in the rankings, Spain is doing everything they could do, which is win the race and hope Brazil gets last.
and if they do, then I think it's very close on points, isn't it?
Absolutely. It'd be totally close on points.
I must admit, I didn't have Spain down as possible medal winners going into this race, but leading this race as they are, and with Brazil struggling at times, there's a slim possibility, especially with Brazil rolling the dice with that jibe set. But that on the far side of the race course, I think Spain must be worried about the way that other boats are moving down the far side of the course. Nora, we talk about a risk that was worth taking. And
Yep.
I just wonder how things are working out for the Brazilians on the far side, because
Yep, this is exactly. This is why I love downwind.
Here we go.
Whoa.
What
okay.
were we talking about? The determination of the Brazilians just trying to make something happen. And they have just made something happen. On the tracker, they are in first place. And I just had this feeling when they went out there just that they were going to just start motoring. And they are motoring.
Chris, I want you to check your homework. I want you to check the points. And I want you to tell me who might win these medals. I'm still thinking that the Netherlands are doing enough. But
Brazil needs 3 boats between them and Norway. Right now they have 4 boats between them and Norway, I believe.
No, Norway or the Netherlands, because Brazil and Norway are almost neck and neck.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
they can't.
Yeah. So at the moment
they can't beat the Netherlands right now. I'm talking about silver medal between Brazil and Norway. Oh, and Norway's in, and Norway is moved into neck and neck with Brazil. So there's really no possibility to give up the silver unless there's a foul.
Nora.
We will see Norway most likely jibing on top of Brazil, but might be that they're even so much ahead. No, yeah, they're not jibing there. They're just jibing in front. So this is okay. This is fine. The only risky would have been if Norway would have managed to cover Brazil, and then Brazil would lose much. But now it looks like Norway will stay ahead of Brazil, and Brazil can still gain some boats. But there's this fleet coming now. We see the Spanish boat here coming from the left side, and there's quite many others coming from the left side as well.
It looks like Norway might have a piece of Spain. It could be a photo finish here between Spain and Norway. Norway have really closed the gap here.
And the Netherlands.
Yeah. And the Netherlands as well. But who is going to win this race? It's really, really tight between Spain and Norway. But Norway looks slow. Spain are diving for the finish. Where is that finish? Oh, it's so close. I think Spain are just going to hold on.
Will they?
I'm not sure.
Norway just squeezing in at the comedy boat. Who came first?
We think
the
Norwegians just stole that from the Spanish, with the Dutch going across in third, just ahead of Brazil. So super tight at the end. Big recovery by Brazil. Across the line in fifth is Belgium. But the important news there is that the Dutch, they finished third. They have won. Van Aanholt and De Ruyter have won the 49erFX World Championships. They are the brand new World Championships of the women's Olympic skiff. So congratulations to them.
That was well sailed. Oh my.
Yes. And Helena Ness and Marie Groningen in second place. Easy finishing in the top 3 like that. And then Martina Grael and
Kayena Kunz
in third place. Now, I have to tell you that this laid out, I think the Brazilians did almost absolutely everything they could. Once they were deep in the pack from that first beat, the only thing that it got harder and harder and harder. It got harder and harder and harder until that last leg where they were almost second to last. And they did what champions did. They just pulled something out. And that's something that we've seen even in the fleet racing that boats like that can do. They are not world champions. And actually, by the way, they are only a one-time world champion. And now they are tied with Odile and her crew, de Ruyter.
So congratulations to Odile and de Ruyter. They've come together very recently, only in the last few months. They've won the European Championships together, Odile van Aanholt and Elise de Ruyter in Thessaloniki a few weeks ago, and now they have added the world title to the European Championship. So what a way to start the new Olympic cycle. And there we have it. They can't believe it.
Yeah, and Helena and Marie, you have to really look at the celebration there. They're so excited. They've been so happy all week. You know, I bet you if you asked them, they would just say, you know what? It just, the whole regatta felt good, you know?
Yeah, it shows how, like, you know, they've been so happy and feeling so good and confident that I think that worked for them.
So here come the coaches to congratulate them. They've had that number one on their back for a good part of the week. And finally, they can have that release of tension. You can see how much Odile van Aanholt wanted this all through the week. We could see it with the onboard cameras, and now the celebrations begin. What an incredible result for this young Dutch team, just teamed up together, forced to do so by injury to each of their respective normal sailing partners, and now they are proving to be a force to be reckoned with, both at the European Championship in Greece and now here in Oman at the World Championships. Brand new World Championships in the 49erFX. There we go. You try and avoid that while you're racing, but now is the moment to get wet. So Nora, what does this mean for Dutch 49erFX racing? It's been strong for a long time. Do you think it's going to be the Dutch setting the pace between now and Paris 2024?
I think so. I think they've shown that the Dutch team, the whole Dutch team, we saw the previous world champions as well, Dutch, like, it's incredible how they train. And, you know, I think all the countries can benefit from that, to see, like, okay, this works. It works to sail with other sailors and switch around, and that's just a really cool concept, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's something the Dutch have been doing for at least a decade now, but no one else has really caught on to it yet. So continuing the great performances of Annemiek Bekkering and Annette Doets, who have won 2 World Championships for the Netherlands and got a bronze medal at the recent Olympic Games in Tokyo 2020. So the Dutch have been strong at this for a while.
They have.
Of course, they're showing signs of being quite strong in the 49er men as well, who will be coming on to next. So we look back at that race. There weren't many opportunities, really, were there? We needed, if anybody else, if the Norwegians were going to see their way past the Dutch, it needed an error from the Dutch, and they weren't going to give that error away, were they, Chris?
No, not at all. And I think that, you know, we saw from the beginning, I've seen this in results before, Martina and Kahena from Brazil, just a slow march up until they usually make it to the top at some point, and it was just really valiant to see how they just tried to make it happen, and they just pulled it out of nowhere on that last leg. But you're right, there weren't really many passing lanes for the 2 top Scandinavian teams. You know, Helena and her crew, they, in that last race, so confident, so strong, you know, 10 boats, and, you know, we're going to finish top 3. We're not going to mess around with this. But I think one of the stories of this Worlds, it's been a different Worlds, lots of mixed crews in all the fleets. And obviously the most awesome example of that is the Netherlands, because they each had an injured partner and they came together. I think is the Finnish team. I think I saw them, they were kind of laughing, they were debriefing with their coach, so I thought they were really serious. I wasn't going to ask them any questions. And then they were giggling. So when we talked to them at the very beginning of the regatta. So I think when we look at the mixed teams, I think we look at the Canadian sisters and the young Finnish team as the teams that really got the most out of this World Championships.
I agree, and I think it's a huge confidence boost for these girls and for the upcoming, Paris Olympics. Like 3 more years, and this will set the pace.
The winners of the last World Championship were Tamara Estrogoyen and Paula Barcelo. They're not here, but let's give credit also to that Spanish team. They didn't quite manage to hold on to the medal race win, but Patricia Suarez and Maria Cantero Izquierdo, they are up to 4th, is that right? They got their way back up to 4th place in the overall standings because of what they did in the medal race.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like, with all these visuals we have over the championships and the Olympics, it's you kind of match country flags with classes, with boats. And I remember from the last championship, the flag that was just, you saw always right there in it all the way to the end was the Spanish flag on a 49erFX. That was like the strong country. And so when I think of FXs, I think of Spain and I think of Brazil.
Okay.
And so when I saw that, well, it's just from a visual standpoint. So when I saw that Spanish, in this middle race, this Spanish flag on a 49erFX, the reason why I have that feeling is because there's a history there. And so there's a strength that come from countries that have kind of have their flag on that sail at the front of the fleet, and they pass it down to the next generation.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth
in that. It's like passing the jersey down.
Yeah.
Especially for this team, it's like a new pairing. And Maria, she was away for quite many years. Did she say her previous championship was 2014 or 15? So that's been a while away, and now she is back together back in FX with a new skipper. It's incredible. They've been sailing this year, basically. I guess they started during winter or just last year.
So definitely one to watch from them. Well, if anyone is going to have happy memories of sailing in Oman, and a lot of us have happy memories of just being here in Oman, but it's always going to be a special place for Adil van Aanholt and Elise Reiter. Let's find out a little bit more about the beautiful country of Oman.
بتراثنا الحضاري تفردنا، وبتاريخنا العريق ازدهرنا. ثقافتنا المتأصلة وموروثاتنا الأصيلة عكسنا ارتباطنا بالبيئة والمجتمع اللي تجسد من خلالها تفاصيل عاداتنا وتقاليدنا، من لبسنا وفنوننا الشعبية، احتفالاتنا، عاداتنا وتقاليدنا. تعاهدنا نستمر في تجديد ولائنا كل عام. سلامنا وازدهارنا وحبنا وتسامحنا يزيد، وتبقى أنت وطننا اللي ما مثلك وطن. أنا عماني وفخري بلادي.
طاقة جعلت منا كيانا واحد
وحافزا
واسما
إلى مزيد من الرقي والتطوير،
جمع قرونا من التاريخ التليد وشاهدا على أعوام من التلاحم والتكاتف انحنت له كل صعاب، وسطرنا بعده أجمل إنجازاتنا، وهنا خطونا خطواتنا الأكبر. ومثل أي شيء إذا اتحد يكون أقوى، بعطائنا، بقيمنا الماجدة الراسخة. كلما دعينا للبذل في ساحة الميدان نكون أولا، نحيط الجميع بعناية، نصنع حلولا تفيد المجتمع. تفاصيل هي أولى اهتماماتنا، بكل ما أوتينا من شغف وطموح واتحاد وقوة. اليوم هو انعكاسات الغد المشرق.
إن شراكة المواطنين في صناعة حاضر البلاد ومستقبلها
ذلك المستقبل الذي لطالما عملنا لأجله.
نتفاعل معه ونؤثر فيه ونتأثر به.
نراه في منتجاتنا بكل فخر، في مواردنا البشرية الكفء، في مشاريعنا التي ننافس نغير بها المعالم. هي طاقة لعماننا بلا حدود.
So that was the 49erFX. Now you are looking at the lineup for the start of the 49er medal race. This is the last race for the 49er men. They've had 16 races up to this point, and that has led to Tim Fischer and Fabian Graf from Germany taking the overall lead in the championship ahead of Bart Lambriax and Floris van der Werken from the Netherlands, who were leading until there was a protest by the Danes, Frederik Rask and Jakob Prek Jensen. There was a port starboard incident in the race earlier today, and that resulted in a disqualification that drops the Dutch down from 2 points in front of the Germans to 8 points behind the Germans. And so we have, it's going to be a mountain to climb for the Dutch to be able to win back the world title that they look to have one hand on, the way that they were sailing. There's 15 seconds to go. It's very popular up at the committee boat end, so it's looking a little bit congested there.
And the boats are doing a lot of maneuvers now. It looks hectic. I'm like, really exciting what's gonna happen here. You see there's two boats still in the second row. I don't know what they're doing. Are they gonna what happened earlier? Are they match racing each other, or why are the Danish starting so late at a medal race when there's only 10 boats? That can't be right. The Germans are going back. They believe they were over the line, so they're just making sure they're not taking a
well, that opens the door. That is big news. Germany going back round to restart. If only the Danes had had a better start, they would be able to profit from that. But the people that are going to be doing well from this are the Dutch, who they will be looking back and thinking, wow, this could be our opportunity to get ahead of Germany, who have gone back to restart. Germany really didn't need to push the line that much, so I can't say whether that was an unforced error. We're not sure what the reasons were for going back, but not a good start for Germany.
But being the sailor, as the Germans, they're leading the event at the moment. Like that's the only choice you have. If you even feel a tiny bit that you might have been over the line, you just have to take it now. It looks like they're far back, but honestly, the loss is not so big as it would have been if they would have not done that.
All right, so taking their medicine early. I'm still more worried about the Germans than you seem to be, Nora. We've got the Dutch leading out to the right-hand side. We're looking at the Danes going out towards the left-hand side. Now, they didn't get the best of starts either, so Frederik Rask and Jakob Prek Jensen do have some work to do after a second row start. Look how stretched they are, and they're fairly low down on their trapeze wires, so we've got good breeze here, but it doesn't take a lot of breeze to get these boats fully up to speed. That always impresses me about the skiffs.
Yeah, and it impresses the FX sailors as well, because the 49er sailors have bigger sails, and they're just always double trapping when the FXs are squatting inside, so it's really unfair. it's so champagne sailing for the 49ers all the time.
So would you like to be sailing the full-size 49er as well then, Nora?
I have sailed the full-sized 49er, but I know once it gets windier, I prefer the FX.
Okay, which probably is the faster boat once the breeze really picks up. So Rask and Jakob Jensen, they are occasionally looking over their shoulder to see what opportunities there are. We're going out on the far side are the Dutch. They are leading the charge out towards the right-hand side. Germany, if you remember, they had to restart. They were over the line at the start. They've given themselves a lot to do. That's Germany 13 on the left. They've just tacked.
So let's, I just want to back us up for a second and see how we got here. The two of the three boats that were kind of deep behind the line and heading to the right were Denmark above Netherlands on port tack. And so heading out to the right early in the race, or early in this beat, the Denmark and the Netherlands, who were second and third and who were in a protest before, were right with each other behind the line heading to the right. Denmark got sprung to the left, and now Netherlands, who's still heading out to the right, is first place on the tracker, but level with Poland and USA, who are winning the left.
We're seeing the boats really use the race course. Only 10 boats, and they reach all the way to the sides of the race course. I believe the Polish here and the US guys are probably all the way at the left ley line, so coming in port. But there's still some time, half of the course left up to the first upwind mark.
Yeah, things look really strong for the boats on the left based on our aerial view, but the tracker has the right just a little bit ahead, with the Netherlands leading on starboard out of the right side.
And at the moment, it's impossible to know who will actually be winning. The tracker says that the Netherlands all the way to the right are first, and the Polish all the way to the left are second. This is incredible. So it's like, it's just 50-50, you know. How can we know which side works? And the sailors won't even know it until they come back to close to each other at the top mark.
Just slightly higher speeds on the right-hand side for Lambrechts and Van der Werken, but very little to choose, as you say, Nora. Just about 10 metres difference, but the advantage very, very slightly to the Netherlands on the right-hand side. But we can't be entirely sure about any of this until we see the first cross executed. Meanwhile, Germany fighting at the back of the pack. Germany needing to get back in to contention. They are in danger of giving away those vital 4 places that the Netherlands needs to get back in the lead of this World Championship. 8 points gap, therefore 4 places is what the Dutch need to get between themselves and the Germans, and at the moment they are doing that quite easily.
What are we seeing here? We're seeing a penalty turn.
Maybe someone's been sent home, have they?
Who's that? Do you think?
We need to find out who's been sent home. But
we think it's one of the Polish teams. There are 3 Polish teams in the medal race, and
it looks like Austria's turned down and Poland has turned down.
No way.
Yeah.
This is going to play into the hands of Germany. Maybe Germany were right to go back the way that they did,
or maybe they weren't over.
Or
I
maybe
think
they
were
weren't
over the line. That's why. What else could it be?
Now we're down. So Poland has actually hoisted the Gennaker. I wonder if Poland's going to go all the way back and restart. I'm not sure what the rules are on that.
Or if they got an early flight.
Maybe it's that.
Okay, too early for that joke.
Sorry.
Netherlands up there just tacking on USA. So these are the first 2 boats.
So we have Austria and Poland 164 over the line.
Okay, so that's been confirmed. Ireland 99 also a little bit. I'm not sure what Ireland 99 is up to either, but we'll get back to you on that. The race at the front, well, Netherlands 49, they were disqualified in the race earlier, which put them out of the World Championship lead. They're doing all they can to get back into contention again. Bart Lambrechts and Floris van der Werken. And round go USA 84, I think that was Ian Barrows and Hans Henken, followed by one Polish boat, followed by the next. That was Molleris and McDermott that went around in second. Cibatek and Kolodziński round in third, then Buksak and Wierzbicki. So 2 Polish boats neck and neck. This is Barrows and Henken from the USA going round in fifth, followed by Fischer and Graf. So this is the important race, is how many points, how many places do Fischer and Graf need to pull back, because at the moment they are not doing enough to be able to get back into the lead of the World Championship, which they held going into this race.
Right now, Fischer and Graf have to pull back 4 points, which is 2 places.
Okay, so 2 more places is what Fischer and Graf need to do.
I'm amazed how well the Dutch are sailing again. They're really doing a comeback after being disqualified in the previous fleet race. After the protest, and I can imagine it was pretty stressful, the break here on shore in between the racing, getting disqualified, and now they're strongly sailing as the winning boat. Really strong race from them. Well done so far. I hope they can keep it up. Was it the US guys here above with the black spinnaker? They really did a nice job atop of the Dutch, trying to cover their wins, but they didn't really manage to do that. On the other side of the race course, we have the US Molleris and McDyard on the left side with the Dutch, and then we have the other US guys, US 84, Barrows and Henken, doing a jibe. They did a jibe set earlier, so they can still be challenging these top 2 boats from the right side, but at the moment, it looks like the wind is pretty stable, not much happening. But we saw in the FX race that there was some gains made from doing a jibe set. So
right now, the way things stand is in the overall for the medals is the Dutch with 92 points as they stand right now. So, and then 4 points back from them, Germany, and 14 points back from them right now is Denmark. So Denmark has kind of slipped back in the overall right now, unless they can pull off some kind of miracle like we saw Martina try to do in the last race.
yeah, I could imagine Denmark trying to do that. They have nothing to lose, so they will, the next upwind, they will look for places to gain.
It looks a bit empty when you don't have 10 boats on the racetrack, but we've had a couple of boats removed from the race course for not going back to restart.
It was the Polish Staniel and can you say the name, Andy?
Storch.
Yes, thanks. And Austria.
Bildstein and Hussel.
Thank you. Yes. The only problem, I don't know what happened with the Irish. They're all the way in the back. It seemed like they thought they were over and they stopped sailing, and then they continued.
Maybe that's what it
Unclear.
was. At the bottom of the course, it is the Dutch who dropped the Jenica, and it's a bit of a late drop, I thought.
That was quite late of them, yeah.
Doing a bit of extra distance that wasn't required, but anyway, they are still leading quite comfortably ahead of USA 43, Molleris and McDermott. Look like they're going to drop and jibe round the same mark, so the Americans making life relatively easy for the Dutch to defend their lead, but the Dutch will be thinking, where are the Germans? It's all about keeping other boats between themselves and the Germans. As around go Poland 42, Cibatek and Kolodziński, and round the opposite way another Polish boat, Buksak and Wierzbicki, and the third place boat with Kolodziński as the crew. This is his last race in the 49ers before he retires after more than a decade racing. This is USA 84, Barrows and Henken dropping their yellow Jenica going around the right hand side. Here comes one of our medal contenders, the Danish Rask and Prek Jensen, dropping and going around the left, and charging in with a very late drop are the Germans, who have a lot to do. Fischer and Graf, winners of the European Championship in the past, bronze medalists in the 49er world titles in the past, but the Germans really need to make up some boats and get past some of their rivals.
Now we're looking at the Danish here, Rask and Jensen. They have a lot to do. Oh, they're tacking. I was kind of expecting them to just, I don't know, bang the corner of the left, because that's available for them. Most of the fleet is heading towards the right now, as you can see on the port tack. But the Danish decided to tack anyway. Are they following the fleet all the way to the right? It seems like that's not a good sign.
It's quite surprising, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't have much to do. I guess it's just a shift they have to take, or a gust or puff, whatever.
Yeah, I think the most important part for them is just to stay in. Actually, the points-wise, they're quite a bit away from Germany to try to get the silver medal. Right now, as it stands, the Netherlands is only 4 points ahead as things stand right now of Germany. So Germany's sitting in silver medal contention. Denmark is still sitting in bronze medal contention. But think about this. There's only 3, as things stand right now, there are only 3 points between Denmark and the USA. So that's really what Denmark is trying to do. They're trying to stay ahead of USA. If USA beats them, or one boat gets in between them, then Denmark loses the bronze medal to USA.
Chris, that was a really good point. Now we're trying to get in the head of the sailors. What are they thinking? What's their strategy for the day? And that was really valuable.
So that's more a defensive play by the Danes. They're looking to hold on to bronze rather than attack for silver. Meanwhile, Netherlands 49, they're on the left of our picture. They are holding the lead in this race with the Americans, USA 43, Mulleris McDermid, just to the right of them in our screen. And then Poland 19, Buksak and Wijbicki. But there's the overlay, there's the track graphics.
There's no big gains to make here. Most of the fleet just going on starboard here. Easy job for the Netherlands. It's easy when the rest of the fleet is just kind of like, all on the same tack. It's nice. Makes the job just much nicer.
So the really only thing to focus on at the moment is Denmark and USA. And with the tracker, it shows the USA. Let's see. Shows USA.
They're back in 7th place. Whether they really are, I wondered if it was a bit laggy there. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We might see them on the drone footage, but later on.
It's USA 84 who we're looking for here. So
the reason why we see the jury boats here on the race course, we normally don't see boats on the race course other than the ones sailing, but here, since it's the medal race, if there's a situation or anything, they will judge the situation on the water.
So we have Poland 19, they are sitting in 3rd at the moment, and then just beyond them is USA 43, and then in the far distance in the middle of our picture, that is our leaders, Netherlands 49, Lambriax and Van der Werken, just putting a loose cover on their closest rivals on this side of the course. On the far side, Poland 42, Chibatek and Kolozinski, they are ones to watch out for the Netherlands as well. But at the moment, Netherlands really doing everything they can and sailing quite comfortably ahead of the rest of the fleet, more than 50 meters ahead of the nearest boat, the Americans.
This is the second lap of the medal race, the final race before we know the actual medals, who gets what colored medal. And there's just one downwind left after this.
And a first-time world champion we will see.
Indeed.
And I'm getting concerned for the Dutch because I think the Germans are looking like they are coming back into this. This is getting very close on points between Netherlands and Germany. If Germany can get within 4 places of the Netherlands, then the world title will go to Germany.
But the Dutch are doing it really well. They only have their only choice is to stay in front and just hope that the rest will figure out
there's nothing
their
else they can
positions
do
in the back. Like, this is the best they can do.
It's the best they can do, but we have to watch. We have to be very
Indeed.
careful and watch out what's going to happen with Germany, because it's right on the cusp. This world title is hanging in the balance. So Netherlands, they can't do better than lead, but they really need some of these other boats, the 2 Polish boats, maybe the 2 American boats, to stay between them and the Germans.
So looking at the Polish that come from the right side of the course on the starboard ley line there, all the way on the top of the screen for Poland 42, they were the only ones that they kind of like take their own road at the race course. They went more right than the others went more left in the end. So it's nice to see if they will.
So around go the Dutch. They're in first.
Benefits.
Next come Poland. I think this is Chibatek and Kolozinski, Poland 42. So that's 1 boat behind the Dutch. Now in third around the Wimbledon final time, it's USA 43, Mullerus McDermid. In come another Polish boat. This is going to be Buksak and Wierzbicki going around in fourth. So we are on absolutely equal points now as Germany come round in fifth place. Tim Fischer and Fabian Graf, they are making ground and they just need to get one more boat. They need to overtake one more boat to take the world title.
And here we see the Dutch Lambriax and Van den Werken again doing a straight lift, but doing now an early jibe, maybe to cover the Germans. Yeah, the Germans are all the way. You said the ones that did a jibe set, the green spinnaker, all the way on the right side. They really wanna make sure that the Germans don't pass them or pass the rest of the fleet. So that's really a good move from them, that they can't do much. The Germans, actually, it's really cool that the Germans did a jibe set, because they really need to just get ahead of those few boats. Or stay,
it's that roll of the dice again, Nora. I mean, it's similar to what we saw with Brazil in the 49er FXs, and the Germans know that they're right on the cusp, and this is a good gamble for them. They might as well have a go going down this way, and if they can pick up just one of those Polish boats or one of those American boats, that will be the difference. While the boat that we're looking at, the Dutch boat front of picture, they will be sailing the boat as well as they can, but they will be occasionally looking over their shoulder. It's only human nature to see where is that German boat.
This run looks really even on jibes, so we don't see anything dramatic to give a big pass here. The boats are going around the same speed, and the angles are dead even right now.
So Netherlands playing it in the middle of the course, keeping pretty well ahead of the rest of the pack. There's USA 43, the black Jenica, in the middle of our picture. On the right hand side you can see Denmark way back now. They've Rask and Precht Jensen, I'm not sure what's happened to them in this race. They've dropped so far back.
Right now, the way it stands, we have a tie with the Netherlands and Germany. We're waiting just to see what a tiebreaker would be like if everyone finishes the way they are right now. And Denmark is still holding on to the bronze medal, just 3 points ahead of Barrows and Henken. And there's really, actually, and with one of the Polish teams as well, Buksak and, can you pronounce that?
Wierzbicki.
Not much can change unless this turns upside down here, but the way it stands right now, the closest is Denmark for the bronze medal, with USA 3 points behind them at the moment. That has to invert.
So we have the two new pairs in this fleet are the Dutch and the Danish, and I'm just so surprised, and I think it's just so cool how well they do, the Dutch. And as well, new pairs in these World Championships.
Well, they're about to cross the finish line, but they won't know quite yet whether winning the medal race is going to be enough for them to win the 2021 World Championship title. And pushing them all the way to the end is Poland's Cibatek and Kolodziejski. But first across the line, it's confirmed. It is Bart Lambriack and Floris van der Werken. And behind them, across the Polish, and now there are no celebrations yet. The Dutch have to look up and they have to see, we need to see who else is coming across this line, and we need to keep our eye on this, because it's all about whether Germany can get ahead. And look at the cross there. So Germany, the green Jenica goes just behind the yellow Jenica of USA 84. As across the line we are seeing two boats cross very close together. It's a photo finish between Buksak and Wierzbicki from Poland and USA's Mullerus and McDermid. I think it was it's so close. I think USA got it, Mullerus and McDermid. But now coming through, it's Barrows and Henken, and Tim Fisher and Fabian Graf, they just haven't done enough. They are about to cross the finish line, but that means that the winners of the medal race have now won the World Championship. Congratulations to Bart Lambriax and Floris van der Werken, winners of the World Championship 2021. Other teams haven't had a look in for so long after the reign of Pete Burling and Blair Tuke with 6 world titles, but finally there is a world title going to the Dutch team of Bart Lambriax and Floris van der Werken. Congratulations to those guys, now celebrating with their coach.
So we're just waiting for the rest of the finish, but it looks like the Americans might have been able to get just that one place that they needed to get into bronze, but we just want to get some confirmation from our numbers dude.
So we'll find out where the bronze goes to. So it is very close between Denmark and USA for the bronze, but what we do know is finishing on equal points but winning on tiebreak, the 49er World Champions 2021 are Bart Lambriax and Floris van der Werken.
They made it almost like a bit tight, the racing here, after the protest situation in the previous race.
That
they
would have
must
been
be happy.
That would have been gutting to have for that protest to have been the difference. I mean, it was fair enough. It was the Danes were fully within their rights to bring that protest, but to have lost the world title through what happened in a protest earlier today.
And even though if they did so, they probably did something wrong as they got disqualified, but they could have done the penalty on the water and not left it on the shore where they get a disc. They could have just done a 360 on the water. It would have not cost them that much.
No, it's quite surprising. Easy for us to say at the time. It's much harder to give away that distance at the time. But also Tim Fisher and Fabian Graf, they made life hard for themselves with starting too soon. They went back to restart, but then those 2 boats were pulled out of the start, so we were down to an 8-boat race, and there were opportunities for the Germans to get back into this, and they didn't quite manage to grab it. That jibe set, it worked for Brazil in the 49erFX race, but the jibe set just didn't quite produce its magic for the Germans, and they have to settle for second place.
I feel like the Germans, it was just a pity they were over early, or they thought they were over early. We don't know if they actually were.
Yeah, we
they
can look
came
back at that. Yeah.
But I think that might annoy them quite much, because they took the opportunities afterwards to gain some leverage, get back to the race, but they just couldn't with the jibe set and everything. They didn't have much of a possibility. No, it didn't quite come good for them. Bart Lambriax and Floris van der Werken, they pulled off a pretty good start. They were in the front row, and must have been great relieved to see that their 2 main rivals for the medals, the Danes and the Germans, both had pretty awful starts. Yeah, it's easy for them. They're like, okay, they're check. Now we can focus on the rest. But it's easier. It's like when you can just focus on the sailing and you don't have to stress for the specific boats. So we've just heard that the Germans were actually over early, so they did the right thing. They went back, and if they hadn't have gone back, that would have been even more disastrous for them. Probably fallen even more in the results. So just talk us through, Chris, the final situation for the bronze medal.
Yeah, so the final scores all the way through are the Dutch with 92 points. No need for a tiebreaker. The Germans fell back behind the Americans on that run. Okay, yeah. And so there was no need for a tiebreaker. So it goes the Netherlands, first-time world champions, new world champions, and with 92 points. Germany, second place, 94 points, just 2 points back. This whole race was so close for the gold and for the silver and for the bronze. Denmark with 112 points, and 1 point back by 1 point was USA 84 in fourth. So the bronze medalist, Denmark, was able to just keep their bronze medal. And we have yet to find out why their race ended up going so badly for them in the second half of that race, because they were up and amongst the fleet, and then suddenly we saw the Danes fall away, and I wondered if that would have been the opportunity for Ian Barrows and Hans Henken to win a medal for USA, but the Danes hang on by their fingernails, and it's a bronze medal by a point. Yeah. And they had a right to be nervous that race. I think probably more so than us, these sailors went into this race understanding that who were the challenges in that race, and if they got a little bit of away from one pair or another, that they'd be in trouble. And I think the Danish felt that with the Americans for sure.
Yeah, I think, and
you stop looking forward, you start looking back.
Exactly. And the medal races are tricky. It's difficult when we're trying to race against one boat, but also you don't want to lose against the whole fleet. But you know that you only basically have to win that one boat. So how do you can't do both. You know, it's just decisions. And when you see them crossing and you have to make decisions quite quickly, that's when you're like, okay, right, left, do I do this? No, this. Like, it's just hard.
A big picture comment on this. We have 2 of the 3 World champions crowned at this World Championships here in Oman, and I gotta tell you, this, we're more than a year into the quad for 2024 Paris, and we have in the 2 skiff classes at this very competitive World Championships 2 Dutch teams on the top.
And a nice little cherry on the cake is that the 2 skippers, Bart Lambriax and Odile van Aanholt, also go out together as well. Can you believe?
I was waiting. I'm going to bring it.
Oh, sorry, I beat you to it.
We're waiting for it.
What kind of celebration are they going to have?
Yeah.
I mean, that is just a dream come true, isn't it?
It's really nice.
Odile's parents have been here all week. Very positive attitude, just like their daughter, very supportive. We know that these teams have a support network that goes well beyond just them and their coaches. The number of people that have been tuning in today, the live feed has had so many more views and participants than even in Geelong, before lockdown.
Well, I'm thinking there's a lot of people in the Netherlands right now that are tuning in and are celebrating a double Dutch victory in both the 49ers and the 49erFXs.
Can we steal that from you for the headline?
Yeah, all right. You can take that one. I don't think I'm the first to use that one, but I just think that's an amazing additional nice little story that Bart and Odile actually go out together as well, and now they both go home together to the Netherlands with gold medals around their necks. Quite amazing.
It's crazy. Yeah, amazing.
But let's not forget we've got another world title yet to be decided. First, a little commercial break, but we will be back to you in a couple of minutes. We'll see you soon. Hello. Yeah, so we've got to get our heads back together again to see how another world title is decided. That was somewhat dramatic, wasn't it?
It was. But hey, we saw the leaders of the yesterday to still continue and win today.
Yes, after that slip this morning with the disqualification, and bouncing back and doing what they needed, marks of a true champion.
Indeed.
Yeah, the difference between the FX and the 49er, both leaders from yesterday, won today with the fleet race and then the medal race. But the difference between the FX and the 49er is that in the FX it was almost a formality. In the 49er, it was all the way down to after the first boat's finished. So the Dutch did everything they could, and they still, it was just barely won by 2 points.
So we're coming into the Nacra 17s soon, and we were talking earlier about how this has been a constant development class so far. It wasn't always intended that way, but it just keeps on getting faster and faster. It went from a low rider to a semi-foiler or a three-quarter foiler this time round, and now it's looking to go full foiling in the future. And so apparently you can use downforce on the windward rudder now. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, because of the mechanism that the class approved in September, and actually we had that video with Ravi Parent. He's been testing on Nacra and on A-class catamaran primarily, where you can articulate the angle of your rudders forward and aft to add or reduce lift with the T-foils that are on the bottom of the rudders. Now, the significance of that is that the rudders are actually a lot further out. Those T-foils are a lot further outboard than the dagger boards. The dagger boards are angled like a Z or an L, and they angle in towards the middle of the boat. So the lifting is actually done, and the leverage is done really close inside the hulls. So they don't have a lot of leverage on the boat, but the rudders, being whale outboard, do. By angling the rudders like this, if you get the boat up on the foils, most of the lift is being pushed into the leeward hull. You can actually do a reverse angle on the weather rudder and pull down. And this is what the catamarans started to do in Bermuda for the America's Cup in Bermuda, and then in New Zealand to add negative lift. And you pull down, and what it does is increases your riding moment. It pulls down against the force of the sail.
So we've got 3 minutes before the start of the race, so we're getting onto the water soon. So this is the last World Championships where we'll have this more conventional, if you can call it that, foiling configuration, and then these boats should be a lot faster upwind and probably downwind as well, and potentially safer. So it's quite a step change potentially for the class.
Absolutely. But you know, the other thing too, the other change that we may see is that just like when they switched from non-foiling to foiling boats, a new group of sailors emerged. Now it is still a foiling class, but you're going to see other people attack this problem differently and learn how to use these tools a little bit more efficiently than the standard bearers that you see here in the class. And luckily it's 3 years out, or just under 3 years out from the Olympics, but so those standard bearers may be able to catch up. But I look for people in this fleet and new people to come in to pop out and utilize those tools a little bit better than the old timers.
let's see if the pecking order does change with the change of technology. We've got about a minute to the start of this race, and we don't see much of a pattern yet in terms of how they're lining up. We've got the 10 best boats from the Nacra 17 World Championship fleet lining up for this medal race, and let me just quickly remind you of the standings. We've got John Gimpson and Anna Burnett, the reigning world champions, in the lead, looking to win a second world title. They're on 55 points, 8 points behind them in second place. Paul Koloff and Alisa Stuhlehmer from Germany. So watch out for Germany 3 and GBR 21. 5 points back from the Germans. We've got Italy 98, Gianluigi Ugolini and Maria Jubilee. And then 3 points back from them, we've got the French, France 51, Tim Morniac and Luba Tomieux. And the Italians, Vittorio Bissero and Mael Frascari, only an outside chance of a medal. This is a 4-horse race as they get started. It's the British closest to the pin end and the Germans just to windward of them. And what's happening with Italy? They're tacking on to port, but off this end of the line, it's Great Britain who win the pin, and just on their shoulder are the Germans, who won that race by 650 meters earlier in the day.
I would like to highlight the start here. It was incredible. So much happening. I haven't seen a start like this in a long time. They were going like eights, almost like figure of eights around behind the starting line, just like picking the place. Just the final seconds, like even the final 20 seconds, they were still like going down, doing a jibe, and then coming back. I was amazed by this. The Germans looked like they did the best start out of like the ones that they changed the place. Yeah, they were doing all the maneuvers, and the Italians as well. They're now tucked away, so we can't see them as well, how well they did come off the start. But the British are making Germans' life really easy at the moment, unfortunately for them. But it just shows how important it is, if you're going to start from the pin, to start as the first boat. You have the advantage of being able to choose whatever lane you want to sail. You can first gain some speed and then just start pinching up and just ruin the rest of the fleet's race.
This is perfect for the British, isn't it? Because the boat that's closest to them in the overall points, threatening them for the gold medal, is behind them right now and falling into their dirty air. And how long will Germany want to stay there?
Just matter of time. I'm just looking at them like, come on, tacking.
And
oh,
look,
they tacked away.
Simultaneous tack.
And the British following.
Just looking up this race course, as we like to have that like first look, which side is moving up the course a little bit faster. And right now the right side of the course is definitely moving up the course a little faster, but as we see here, looking from this drone footage and also looking at the tracker, as you go further right, the breeze is bending to the right. So the whole group to the right is bending to the right, but the left isn't showing that. This group of Gibson and Burnett, the current leaders, and the Germans and the Danish and even Netherlands that just tacked, they're showing a little bit different breeze on the left side of the course. And so here we are again. We have two sides that are going to probably come out pretty even for the middle half of this beat. But let's see who wins out at the end. Right now we're back into a little bit of a left shift for both sides of the course.
I'm hearing that it might be that Italy 5, Bissero and Frascari were over the line at the start.
Yeah, we saw them.
Might be.
We saw them in the middle of the line.
I haven't had that absolutely confirmed. We'll see if we can get confirmation on that. But we'll see if they are pulled out of the race or not. They were a very, very outside chance for a medal. It was only really a mathematical chance. So that what was basically most likely a 4-horse race is now definitely a 4-horse race if Italy 5 is pulled out of this medal race.
So now we have Argentina tacking onto starboard from the right. So now this is where we start to see if which side is winning. So they led off to the right side of the course. You can see them up on the top of the drone footage right there. It's really hard with these wide tacking angles with the catamarans, but it looks like we've seen before. It's kind of whoever wins their side is kind of dead even with each other. But right now, Argentina looks like they're just a little bit over the British and Danish.
It is confirmed now that Italy, Bissara and Frascari, they were over in this start. Yeah. What does it mean, Andy?
Well, it probably means that they're going to be pulled out of the race, but in overall points terms, it's not really going to make that much difference to the medals. Because they only had an outside chance of getting into the medals. So that means that we have a more likely scenario of the top three holding the top 3 places. It means that France can go fully on the attack if they knew that Italy were over the line. Morniac and Bertomeu won't know that, but basically it doesn't really change much.
It looks like they're already going down, leaving the race, as the jury or the race committee has told them they were over and they're not able to continue this medal race anymore. This is so good for the other teams, and unfortunately for the Italians, they were doing well before coming into this day. Today at the fleet racing, they were not so strong, and now this, like both of the Italians. So it's unfortunate. We saw them up in the top podium positions already, like earlier this week.
Yeah, we did. But the Italians have fallen away a bit in the latter stages of this World Championship in Oman. Argentina flying almost underneath our drone, just going into attack there. It's Argentina, Magdalani and Bosco leading this race at the moment and just tacking across to cover the danger from the right-hand side. But Argentina not really in contention for a medal. Well, definitely not in contention for a medal. That really is a 4-boat race between Great Britain, Germany, and Italy and France.
But so far really well sailed from the Argentinas. They took after the start, they just tacked right away or took a port start. I can't see it from here exactly, but they went all the way to the right, came back to the fleet, and now they tacked on the fleet again. So it's a really perfect race for them. Yeah, nice clean race for the Argentinians, and the GBR was the opposite. They won their side. They controlled that pack to the left of them. They pinned someone out and then tacked on top of the group over on their hip. And I think this is really strong. So let's look at the pack behind them and let's see what that means for silver and bronze medal in the fleet. The French, Morniac and Bertholomew, they
they're in touch for this race, and they're young. They've only been sailing together for 2 weeks, but they've really been putting the pedal down. They're in a strong. Let's see. Yeah, they should be in third place here, but it's hard to tell with the Dutch and where the ley line is. I can't see that right now.
I'm surprised the whole fleet is on the right side of the race course, and the only boat we can't see here is the Finnish. They just chosen to do their own race on the left, so it's interesting to see, can they make any gain from there. I think they're just hoping to do something different.
I think a left shift brought the fleet over to the right, and now it's still kind of hanging in there. You can see this angle. A bunch of boats tack back thinking that they were on the ley line, and it's just they've been eating it all the way back. But the problem is the whole pack's on the right side, so you can't go against that grain, and you're far to the right, so you have to get going back in that direction, even if it's a bad tack.
I think this left shift will definitely now change the racing a bit, because now almost all of them have to tack, or this is just the offset mark.
The breeze is coming back just a little bit right when we were starting to talk about that, going back right a little bit, so this fleet's coming back up to the mark.
We'll see if the Dutch will, they're easily over the ley line, so they can make it. It was only the RGs who needed to do the little tack back.
So Argentina leading round ahead of the Netherlands and Italy, and around go our overall World Championship contenders. Great Britain in fourth place. That's Finland tacking in from the left, from their lonely path up the left-hand side of the course, and it's not worked out too badly for them. They're going around in fifth place ahead of the second half of the fleet.
It seems like taking risk, definitely it's something you should do if you want to gain and don't care about losing much. Let's say so.
Yeah, there certainly are opportunities, aren't there?
Yeah.
It's Argentina leading. We're looking at Italy in second, bottom of picture, followed by the Netherlands, and then the Union Jack of Great Britain in fourth place. And then there's a gap back to Finland, Denmark, Germany, significantly, Sweden and France. So Morniak and Bertomeu, they are not doing very well in their bid to get into the podium. It looks like France is going to struggle to get into the medals today. And then Germany not doing too well. I'll need to find out if that's going to affect their ability to hold on to the silver.
Yeah, what's up with Germany?
I think Germany at the moment would have dropped back to bronze position.
They're seventh overall at the moment, looking at the tracker. Let's see what happened with them. They just couldn't find a good lane, how it seems like.
They were being tacked on by the British, so they were always getting second pickings.
They were, it's quite brutal. The British are just keeping them behind, and they didn't really have much of a choice. The British have been tacking on them, the whole upwind covering them. Almost the only thing they could do is just dive early, but they didn't take that opportunity now, and this downwind.
It's awfully close. We're calculating what the current positions and what it means, but it's only 5 points between second and third, and then 3 points between third and fourth, between the Italians and the French. So it doesn't take much to mix up the silver and bronze right now.
And that's why I think maybe the Germans didn't want to take too much of a risk and jibe super early if it looked like it was beneficial to continue left. What are you seeing, Chris?
Hold on.
Well, basically,
wait.
Morniak and Bertomeu are not having a good race. They're in fourth place. Their chances of getting onto the podium are slipping away. Ugolini and Jubilee are having a good race in second place, and that gives them the opportunity to get up into silver medal position. I don't think anyone, barring disaster to the British, can take this world title away from John Gimpson and Anna Burnett. We see them going out to the right of picture with the Union Jack. In the front of picture we see Ugolini and Jubilee, leaders of this competition for so much of the week, but a bit of a poor day yesterday. But they look like they've got themselves back into silver medal contention, because Germany have some catching up to do further down the racetrack.
And Ugolini and Jubilee was the younger Italian team, right?
That's correct. Yes. So there are now 3 world-class Italian teams, and it's the team that did well recently in the European Championships that are now looking like they could get a silver medal here. But just coming into the bottom mark, we see Great Britain going around just ahead of Netherlands 5:05. So the British have managed to overtake the Dutch on the downwind leg. So the British are up into third, the Dutch are back to fourth, and then the Finns, Kurtberg and Keskinen, come down for fifth place around the mark. And here come Koloff and Stulema, just getting the blue Jenica away. So Koloff and Stulema up into sixth place, with Ugolini and Jubilee battling for the lead in this race. It is Koloff and Stulema still have some work to do.
So the way things stand right now, I was reading from things were getting updated pretty quickly. Is the change right now is Germany has moved up into silver medal position, and they are only 5 points ahead of Italy right now. So that's 2 places or 2 places away from each other. So the way things stand right now are Gibson and Burnett are solidly 7 points at the moment in the gold medal position. Then Germany is about 5 points ahead of Italy right now for silver and bronze.
I was just thinking that the Nacras are doing this sunset sail again.
I think we need to check those points. My feeling is that Ugolini and Jubilee are doing enough for silver medal at the moment. They are in first place, and I think they need to get 3 boats between them and the Germans, which at the moment they do. So could we get some confirmation on that, and just check with Ben Ramoka what the situation is? But at the moment, I think with Italy in the lead, I think that is enough to put them in silver medal position.
Yeah, that's sure. This was based before they overtook Argentina on the scores.
Okay.
That's what that represents.
Okay.
Oh, so interesting. Okay, so if they stay like this, then they would get a silver medal.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And that puts it, the young French pair that have only been together for 2 weeks, who've put in a really big charge on. They're 9th place right now. There's really, unless some miracle happens, there's really no chance for them to move up in the scores. And I don't think there's probably a chance.
No, it just looks like a header far away from the fleet. It just seems like, as we can see from the tracker here, the boats, they really want to go to the right side, and it may be, I don't know, is it a left shift maybe? Difficult to see on the Nacras. The Angos are just so much lower in the Nacra because they're foiling and they just get so much speed, and it just makes sense to go fast rather than go high.
I think right now the most important thing for GBR, once you slip out of that top 2 and you start to get into the scrum, into the mix of the other boats, anything can happen. And I think GBR wants to make sure that once it's getting in the mix with the other boats, and boats are getting leverage on them, they want to be going in the same direction as their opponent of Germany, the next closest rival. The only thing that can really happen here to really blow up the apple cart is if GBR loses track of Germany and then gets stuck up with these Sweden, Netherlands, Finland somehow at the top of the beat.
Now we see the German tacking, so we could probably expect GBR tacking quite soon.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be great to see what's going on the water. The tracker really gives you these distances, but it'd be nice to see how close everyone actually is. Argentina is tacking before the ley line probably, and Italy sailing really strong. That young team from Italy has really proven themselves, going really fast. They're looking for their moments. Very small, minor mistakes. I think their speed has saved them a lot, but they have a composure that's beyond their years, and I think that comes from being the tuning partner for the Italian gold medalist from Tokyo.
Yeah, and as a young team, the learning curve is just, pretty high. Obviously, in the beginning, it's just super high. And having those good training partners really makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. So here we have Gibson and Burnett heading back to the left. I don't see Germany, but I'm assuming that they're on top of Germany. Yep. And then we have the leaders. We have Italy and Argentina. Those are the lead boats you see. So we're going to see the British show up right here, and then just kind of where you're sitting in your seat at home, you're sitting on top of Germany, just like GBR is doing.
That's correct. So our drone is pretty much over the top of Sweden and Germany. But as you look at the screen at the top, it's in first Italy, in second is Argentina, and at the bottom of the screen is in third place GBR, and it's GBR 21, John Gibson and Anna Burnett leading the World Championship going into this race, and third place at the moment is enough to have them comfortably winning this world title. There's a closer battle for silver and bronze between the Italians, who are doing everything right in terms of leading this race. It's just a matter of where will Germany finish this race, because the Italians need to get 3 boats between them, and the Brits are sort of doing a favour to the Italians because it's in the British interest to keep Germany back as well. So the close cover that Great Britain is putting on Germany is playing into Italian hands as well.
Yeah, the point spread is still quite big between the Italians and Gibson and Burnett, but anything can happen here. If this is the end of the day, we're only, what, half an hour away from darkness?
about an hour away anyway. Yeah, so we're actually
well, for a total blackout, I think darkness is sunset. Sunset it in 30 minutes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'll have to check that.
Anyway, we it's amazing. You wouldn't know that sunset is so close to look at these pictures, but we haven't actually got much of the day left. But we haven't got much of this race left either. We've got one more downwind leg, and then we will find out who will be the winner of the 2021 Nacra 17 World Championship, as we see Great Britain tacking on to port behind the 2 boats ahead of them. It's Italy leading, Italy 98, Ugolini and Jubilee, and Magdalani and Bosco from Argentina in second place, who were leading this race earlier on.
And just a little reminder of the 2020 Worlds that Gibson and Burnett won. They were happily sitting in third place, pretty far out of it going into this medal race in 2020, and came out of nowhere. Not came out of nowhere, but they while the boats in front of them, the gold and silver standings, got into it with each other, and they ran away with that medal race and won the Worlds. Now they come into this medal race winning. Argentina coming around in second, following the Italians, but here they come. Man, I don't want to jinx the whole thing, but they're really strong right now, and I guess there have been a couple Nacra 17. Billy Besson and Marie Rioux have won a couple in a row.
They won the first 4 Nacra 17 world titles in the low riding days, the early days of Nacra 17 going up to Rio 2016. Around go John Gibson and Anna Burnett for the final windward mark of this Nacra 17 World Championship, followed by Sweden 439, that's Jerud and Jönsson. And then coming in from the left and tacking, it's Denmark, Sayuma Pedersen and Brun Boriskov.
Sweden has done a nice upwind. They were a bit further back, and now they're up on 4th.
Well, what Sweden have achieved is good for Italy. It's bad for Germany, because Germany is going around that top mark in 8th place, and Germans are not going to be able to close the gap on the Italians as things stand. Expect to see Germany do the jibe set of desperation that we've seen so many times, and we've seen it work from time to time as well.
Here's a good look at Burnett just working the ride height control. She's our flight controller today. If everyone just buckles up and enjoys the ride, we'll get to watch this happen for a little bit longer. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. Right now, we have to say that pair are the best Nacra 17 sailors in the world, 2 times running.
They are, and maybe 3rd time.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, I won't say anything. That's too early. That's too early. I take it back.
But they're looking really great. Thank you to Icarus for doing such a great job all week long with this footage, even with our test footage. And let's just enjoy this for a little bit. We'll look at the updated scores. Italy looks like they're sitting in silver medal place right now, and Germany in bronze medal place. So the young Italians are looking really strong. But look at how beautiful that is.
Yeah, it looks like a dance. Back and forth, back and forth.
Here we go. One of the hardest things to do on something without active flight control, mechanical flight control, is the jibe. So let's see how fast they get the boat.
That was a nice jibe.
They made that look easy, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Beautiful. And they're up on foil just a couple seconds later, but lost very little speed. Yep, so the Italians right now are sitting in silver medal position. What an outcome for that team. Their teammates, Bissaro and Frascari, were over early, and 2019 world champions just missed out on selection to their gold medalist teammates. But this young Italian pair were tuning partners for the Tokyo gold medalists.
And that young Italian pair, Ugolini and Jubilee, are not far from the finish line now, so they are leading this race. We're looking at GBR 21, who are in third in this race, looking to win the world title, but just about to cross the line. It is Ugolini and Jubilee, and they may well have done enough to take the silver medal back from the Germans, because the Germans have just not been able to make inroads in this race. Koloff and Stuhlemer back in 8th place, and that looks like it's going to relegate the Germans to the bronze medal position. Here we are again with John Gimpson and Anna Burnett, not very far off the finish line, not very far from winning the 2021 Nacra 17 world title. Argentina going across the line in 2nd place. It's going to be Great Britain going across in 3rd in about 30 seconds time or so. Anna Burnett running up to the bow of the boat. They're still not daring to dream about anything other than getting this boat safely across the finish line.
Yeah, and the one thing that we haven't talked about too much is that even though she's doing the flight control, each time they press down on the bow, they reduce lift, so reduce drag, and it's a little speed up mechanism.
And that is confirmed. They crossed the finish line in 3rd place. John Gimpson and Anna Burnett are the Nacra 17 world champions. Congratulations to Great Britain. They successfully defend their world title from Geelong 2020. Since then, they've won the Olympic silver medal at Tokyo 2020, and just a few weeks ago, they won the European Championships. So they are the best Nacra 17 team in the world right now. Such an amazing 18 months that this team have experienced, and you can see how much that means to them. It may be the 2nd time that they've won a world title, but that doesn't take away from how exciting it is to win a world championship in Olympic class, particularly something as technically challenging as the Nacra 17 foiling catamaran. And there's John Gimpson. He's been working Olympic success for more than 20 years with Anna Burnett, who's been in the Olympic game a good deal less, but John Gimpson credits Anna Burnett as being the best crew that he's ever sailed with in the many boats that he's campaigned, including the Tornado, the Star, the 470, you name it, he's pretty much campaigned it. But John and Anna, they are absolutely top of the pile. And just as we were celebrating the happy couple, the happy helms in the 49er and the 49erFX, that hug between John and Anna, that means a lot more than just that hug as well, because they are a couple. Not only do they race the Nacra 17 amazingly well together, they are a partnership both on and off the water. So really happy to see those two enjoying their success together.
Seeing a lot of couples here and at the gold medals today.
There's something in the water here in Oman, isn't there?
Some magic.
Well, I think there's something. So we have. I'm waiting for full confirmation for, but I think we're pretty sure that Italy has the silver medal and Germany falls to the bronze medal, unfortunately, for Kohlhoff and Stuhlemer. But the one thing that I wanted to note about Gimpson and one thing I wanted to say about Gimpson and Burnett is Andy brings up the amount of years that John Gimpson dedicated. He tried different classes, 470, Star, Tornado, and as these classes develop and as some leave the Olympic Games, it seems like John was just like, I just want to go to the Olympics. I'm trying everything I can. He'd lose a crew or someone would move on to a different class.
It took him a long time. And he was other people's tune-up partner for so long, but he eventually got there on his own terms. And he's so softly spoken, as is Anna. You sometimes wonder if they're tough enough for this game, but just because they're softly spoken doesn't mean there's not some steel on the inside. There's a lot of steel on the inside, as there has to be at this level of the Olympics. But yes, let's mention that Ugolini and Jubilee from Italy, they did take the silver medal from Paul Koloff and Alice Stulema. If there's any consolation for the Germans, is that they already had a 3 on their sail, so they haven't got to change their sail numbers at least.
That's positive. I don't know. I think they're really happy, but they were so close to the silver, so I guess they would have, wanted to polish it.
But as we see, sometimes if you are the closest threat to the gold medal, then you get the potential world champion sitting on you, like we saw. We saw Great Britain putting a tight cover on Germany, and that made life harder for the Germans, and it freed up the Italians to race out to the front. Okay, they had to do that on their own terms, and they had to get out to the front of the fleet. But to some extent, they had Great Britain keeping one foot on the throat of the Germans as well.
Yeah, so it might have been easier for them to start the day on third.
Sort of, yeah. It's a little bit strange like that, isn't it? But incidentally, in the Nacra European Championships, Gibson and Burnett won the Europeans just a few weeks ago, and Ugolini also got silver medal at the Europeans. So Gianluigi Ugolini has now got silver in both the Europeans and the Worlds. Although he was sailing with a different crew, Alice Cialfi in the Europeans. But well done to all of our medalists. Great Britain winning the gold, Italy winning the silver, and Germany winning the bronze medal. Right, and we have our 49er world champions just entered the room, so someone's going to make way for them, and we see if we can get an interview with our brand new world champions from the Netherlands. And it was Bart Lambriax and Floris van der Werken who we saw celebrating out on the water less than an hour ago, just sailing an absolute blinder of a medal race. And I would imagine it's been quite a stressful day for them, but we will find out in a moment. Guys, congratulations. If you could put the headphones on and just put the microphone down to that position there. So guys, an amazing performance. How does it feel? It's been a while since anybody else won a 49er world title, but there had to be a new champion, and it's you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it feels great. We didn't expect it coming here. We're just super happy.
And how long have you been sailing together?
Just over 2 months now. Yeah. So I went to the Olympics with Pim, and we stopped sailing together after Olympics, and found Floris, and yeah.
And so to pick yourself up again and to get into full gear and now win a world title so soon after Tokyo, that's an important milestone on the way to Paris 2024, because there's not much time before the next games, is there?
Yeah, no, there's not much time at all. It's just over 2.5 years now.
Floris, just tell us a bit about your history. You're not new to the 49er, but teaming up with Bart, what was the what have you been doing in the 49er before then?
Well, I've been sailing the 49er until 2016. Then I quit for a few years, did some other sailing on big boat stuff and other classes, and then Bart got me the opportunity to step in after the games, and nothing as enjoyable as 49er sailing. I also noticed that the past years, so I'll take the opportunity with 2 hands, and trying to become better and better, and keep improving. So that's the most fun thing about the sport, I think.
Well, you say keep improving. I mean, you've only been back on board the boat for a couple of months, and these other poor sailors that you've just beaten, they've been trying to do this for years. You step back on but the boat after a 4 or 5 year gap, and now you're world champion. I mean, that's an incredible return to the fleet.
Yeah, well, there's someone besides me now who I need to give a lot of credits also for that, putting the boat in the right spot. So Bart is definitely also a very big part of it, I have to admit. So thanks for that, Bart, and
Well, a great team effort, and you sailed a great race earlier on in the day, but then we discovered later on that there was a protest against you, and Denmark brought a protest against you from what I heard was a port starboard kind of incident downwind with Jenica's. You were disqualified from that. That dropped you from 2 points ahead in the overall standings to 8 points behind the Germans. What was going through your mind at the time, Bart?
Well, first of all, that incident, we didn't believe we were wrong to begin with. We thought we had a clear cross, and then they bore down a bit, and suddenly, it was a bit of an incident. But
so that makes you feel even worse when you feel you've been wronged, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I mean, we knew 8 points going into the medal race. It's still doable. So. Yeah, it didn't do that much because we still had a good shot at winning. So, yeah.
Well, it was something like getting 4 boats between you and the Germans.
Right. Yeah. So
when there's 10 boats on the water, that doesn't seem like a lot to me. But when you saw the German boat turn back down towards the start again and restart, what were you thinking then, Floris?
Well, I wasn't really focusing on that. I was focused on boat speed and the Portex start. But yeah, I saw they were not coming very well off the line after turning back. So I was just focusing on the race and trying to make the boat go fast. And then it suddenly goes like this.
And you sailed out to a fantastic medal race, and so then it was a matter of you probably couldn't celebrate straight away when you crossed the finish line, I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So we finished first, and that meant that the Germans had to be 5th or worse, and I think they finished 6th. So it was pretty close, and they did a jibe set, and we were looking at it, and we were like not sure if it was going to be enough or not, but it turned out that it was just enough. So yeah.
Am I right in thinking that the Netherlands hasn't won a medal in a World Championship before?
In the 49er? Yeah, that's right. We were this Olympic Games. We were the first Dutch team ever to go to the games in the 49er class. There have been a few teams trying in the past, but yeah, this is the first medal. Yeah.
Right, amazing, and not just a medal; it's the gold medal.
Yeah.
Quite incredible. And meanwhile, what did it do for your spirits to see in the 49erFX Adil van Aanholt also win the gold medal in the 49erFX? That must have been a special moment for you, but
yeah, it was very special. It definitely put a big smile on my face. We were about to start when they finished, so. Couldn't get too distracted by it, but I'm incredibly happy that we both won the World Championship. That's great. Yeah.
So you go out with each other, right?
Yeah.
And did that put extra pressure on to think, well, if she's going to be sitting around the dinner table with a gold medal, I better have one too?
No, it didn't. No.
Anyway, I mean, it's a fairy tale story. Just a double Dutch victory today. You couldn't ask for better. I mean, people must be going crazy back in yacht clubs back in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
Well, guys, absolutely amazing performance. You've sailed spectacularly all through the week. This has never looked lucky. It looked like you were world champions in waiting, the way that you've sailed the boat. And so congratulations, the first ever medalists from the Netherlands in a 49er World Championship, and not just the medalists, the world champions yourselves. Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
So that was one Dutch victory. We will move on. I'll just remind you what happened in the 49erFXs, because we had a bit of a race on between the Netherlands, Norway and Brazil to decide the medals earlier on today. But it was the Netherlands that came through as well, and as we just heard from Bart, it was his girlfriend Adil van Aanholt sailing with Elise de Ruyter, who ended up winning the 49erFX Championship. So we will get them in very soon. And well, there's a bit of change of clothes going on over here, and once they put their correct Netherlands clothes on, then they will join me. So come and join us. And if you can just put the headphones on. Adil and Elise, congratulations. Just amazing. That grin on your faces, that says it all.
Yes, we are very happy. I think a little bit overwhelmed, emotional, but mostly very happy. Yes.
And has it felt like? Sorry, I'm just going to check where my microphone is. There it is. Yeah, I'm just checking it's okay. Has it felt like you this was a world title within your grasp from day one? Bearing in mind you've got, for example, the reigning Olympic champions. Did you come here with the expectation of winning?
We came here with the expectation not really of winning, but we really want to do it well. And we thought top 3 is possible, but then we have to sail really good. So yeah, we're really happy with this.
Amazing.
Yeah, it felt like since we paired up at the Europeans, felt very natural together. And I think we focused mostly on the level of sailing we could get to. And then we knew we could get to a high level, but you're always looking a bit, how are the other teams going to come in? So it was very cool to race against the Olympic champions and see how we line up with them.
So you won the European Championship fairly easily, is that right, in Thessaloniki a few weeks ago?
Yes.
Did that surprise you?
A bit.
Yes, yeah. That was a surprise, yeah.
Now, you had a bit of a scary moment when there was a retrieval line from a spinnaker hoisting just to windward of you. I'm thinking this was at the windward mark, was it?
Yeah.
And as the kite was flapping on the other boat, the rope got caught around your neck. And tell us the rest of the story.
Yeah, so it was a bit scary. It was only 6 or 7 knots, so your mind is not really in a danger mode as it is with 20 knots and waves, for example. So I was very relaxed, and we had an incident with an Italian team, and we yelled protest, and then they went away and we went down. So we sort of thought, okay, it's over. That's at least what I had in my head. And then while we were already focusing on the future, then suddenly I felt myself being pulled away by the neck. And because they headed up and we had just bore down, there came quite a lot of tension on this rope, and it took me with them to their boat and up in the air. And I was very lucky that the line came loose eventually from my neck, and physically I did not have a big injury. Mentally was a bit harder because I just felt very lucky that it went well, but you're also thinking a little bit, how it could have happened. And it made me extra grateful, I think, the next few days of racing. And it was nice how the team came together and supported me a lot. And well, it was an experience.
It was a scary moment, yes.
Yeah, it's also for her, because you were actually...
I saw it, yes. It was really really scary. And
it's such a freak accident, isn't it? And you expect risk and danger in a 49erFX when the breeze is blowing over 20 knots, but not when it's blowing 7 or 8 knots.
Yeah.
But a bit of a life-changing moment for you, but you bounced back from that and you ended up winning those European Championships fairly easily. So how did that, what kind of mindset did that give you coming into these worlds?
Yeah, I think what went well for us was really focusing on the process and not the results. And we try to come back to that, no matter if it's a good race or a bad race.
Stay really relaxed and working together. We really want to work together and keep the vibe chill, and that's for us the most important thing.
Yeah.
The Dutch have been pretty good in the 49erFX for a while, winning a bronze medal at the Tokyo 2020 with Annemiek Bekkering and Annette Doets. You gave them a bit of a scare in the last Olympic trials. You didn't quite win Olympic selection for Tokyo 2020, but you gave them a scare. You've established yourself as one of the front runners now, as the new world champions, and you've just beaten the likes of the Norwegians, Helene Nesse, Marie Ronigan, and the double Olympic champions from Brazil, Martine Grael and Kayena Kunz. 2 3/4 years out from Paris 2024, you must feel like you're doing the right things to put yourself in position for a medal.
I think we'll start by thanking you for your compliments. I think, like I said before, we're focused on the process, and I have to say, it is nice to get a few results, because I've been chipping away for a few years, and also, both of us changing teams a little bit, not having a stable crew, for example. So it was very nice that, when we sailed together, it clicked, and you can focus on the details again. And we'll see what happens in the future. We love what we're doing, so that helps.
So you were brought together by the sort of strange coincidence of both of your normal sailing partners being injured, and so this sort of forced you together. And obviously you've proven to be very fast together as well.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see where things go from here in the future. But you've certainly proven yourselves in Thessaloniki and here in Oman. A very exciting prospect to watch. Your parents are here, Adil. I don't know about you, Elise. Do you have
My
family?
dad is here, yes.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes parents can be a distraction, but we can say this time, now that you've won the world title, that they have safely been a strong part of your support team. So what do they bring to the package?
For me, my dad brings a lot of relaxed height, and it's nice that he is here, and it's nice to have someone to talk with, but it's also fine to say I don't want to talk about sailing, we're just talking about different stuff, so that's also nice. So for me, it's really relaxed.
Now, whenever I speak to your parents, it's generally about sailing, because we're probably talking about you. But they are passionate about sailing, as are you, aren't they? So can you find another topic of conversation in the evening to take your mind off it?
Well, I have to say my dad, since he went to Olympics as well, and he really is a sailor at heart, finds it a little bit harder. So every time I give him a nugget of sailing, he tends to try to crawl in and try to take over and talk about sailing. And then him, I really have to tell, like, okay, Dad, enough. Mom's not that much into sailing. She really supports what I'm doing and what my sister did and my brothers did. So for me, my favorite thing is that they read to me at bedtime, because after a day of racing, it's quite hard to forget all the situations and places where you've could have gotten an extra few points. So it's nice to get out of my own head, and they help me with that. So that's
what are they reading to you at the moment? What was the winning book?
It's called A Jealousy Man. It was a thriller about two twin brothers who killed who. So definitely a whole different world from what we're experiencing here. Yeah, but it was fun.
It's important to do that, isn't it? To give your head a bit of space.
Yeah, I mean, especially here, because the hotel is also here, and all the sailors also always together. So that's sometimes hard. If you wanted to, it would be hard to sort of escape the environment here, wouldn't it?
Sailing environment.
Yeah, we're here now for 3 weeks, so that's also quite long. Yeah. And then you only have the sailing, so that. But we managed it quite good.
We used to hang out in the cafe a bit, because that felt like
our spot.
You go to a different cafe, not to the hotel. So we found our little ways, and Elise brought her foil board, so we did some foiling and tried to keep some fun in as well. Not that sailing's not fun, but
that is work as well, isn't it? It's sort of work. Yeah, that's the day job. Yeah. What are you looking most forward to the most when you go back to the Netherlands? Not the weather.
Well, it might actually snow, I heard, so that would be fun.
Oh, that would be cool.
So after 3 weeks of sunny Oman, you're looking forward to a bit of cold weather again?
No, not really.
It's quite nice here. We feel comfortable.
Yeah, we feel comfortable, but it's also nice to go home again and be at home.
Yeah,
just be at home, see boyfriend, and just be at home.
And what's next on the campaign trail? Where do you go from here?
I think next is testing out the new kit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be exciting. We're a little bit scared to see what the new mast and sails will do, because we don't have much information, but we're very keen to get started on that. And
but
see
first we take December off.
Yeah, we take some time.
Right, you're gonna have a proper Christmas.
Yes.
Okay, and then you're gonna find out what this new rig does with these 3DI North sails, black sails. It's gonna be quite a different look, isn't it?
Yeah. I was thinking a bit like, because sometimes now it's already quite tricky if you sail downwind to see other boats coming.
Because of the kite,
might be a bit more dangerous around the course, and will be different for the cruise as well, because I think you guys look a lot at the shape of the sail, and it will be a very
different view. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. So maybe actually reading the shape of the sail might be a bit challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
I think they're putting windows in these sails though, so
they better be big. I hope they make them big.
Also in the jib.
Yeah.
Okay, well, girls, congratulations, amazing result. You really look like you wanted it, and
Yeah.
we could see that with the onboard camera. There was a lot of determination in your faces.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a question for you. A lot of adjustment on the trapeze bar. Is that necessary?
Well, I think it's a bit of a combination. I think at that moment I was a bit nervous, but you definitely have different styles where you have teams where they've said like, okay, the crew does all of the boat balance and the skipper just focuses on steering, and I think we found a happy medium of both of us doing it. So you will see me move around quite a lot around the boat. That's how we like it.
Well, anyway, it was great fun watching you from close up and trying to learn what we could about what to make a 49er FX do at world-class speed. Have a great trip back to the Netherlands. Enjoy this evening. Enjoy the moment with your parents, and really, really pleased to see you, and in your case as well, your boyfriend win his world title. So.
Oh, it feels really special.
Yeah.
I cannot say. I'm so proud of the boys. They're a very new team, and was a bit of a shake-up with Bart and Pim quitting after the games after doing quite well. And Floris has been out of the boat for so long, but they, again, really match well as a team. So it's just beautiful to see. So
yeah,
cool. So proud.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you girls.
Thanks.
And I'm sure we'll see you do it again sometime.
Yeah, thanks for the event.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. So that was our 49er FX World Champions. So we've talked to the 49ers, we've talked to the 49er FXs, and we are going to talk to the new Nacra. Well, they're not the new, they're the repeat Nacra 17 World Champions from Great Britain. And so we will bring in John Gibson and Anna Burnett and hear what they have to say. So put the headphones on, guys. Congratulations. I can't believe that just a few minutes ago I was watching you out there win a World Championship title for the second time. But here you are sitting next to me. It's a privilege to see you guys and talk to you. And John and Anna, another amazing performance. This is becoming a nice habit, isn't it, Anna?
I don't know about a habit, but we we just kept fighting this week, and the racing was so difficult. We kept saying all week it just didn't really feel like it was ever really going our way.
It didn't look like it was sort of really going anyone's way a lot of the time. It just looked like it was I think I'm allowed to say snakes and ladders when I talk to British people. I'm given a slap, but you know what I mean by snakes and ladders. I mean, it was a tricky race course, wasn't it, John?
Yeah, we definitely found the snakes quite regularly.
But what I notice about you is that you talked about chipping away yesterday, and you don't seem to take big risks on the race course. You seem to rely on your speed and your technique to keep you in the game. You're not banging the corners very often, is that right?
Yeah, I think with the 49er and Nacra Worlds particularly, it's such a long series, consistency at the end is always going to pay off, and yeah, you can win the race, but you can also quickly get a 9th or a 10th, and I think if you get a 5th and then a few wins when they come to you, it's over the week it pans out.
Yeah, well, it certainly panned out for you in the last couple of days of this regatta. You really seem to have stepped up as it's gone along, Anna. Is that how it felt to you?
I think we just finally figured out what our priorities were for the racing. Every day here, it kind of looks like it's going to be the same. The same thing happens. The wind fills in at a certain time, and it all looks the same. But it's just there's subtle differences every day which make a big impact. Have a big impact on the race. And I think we were always a day behind, we kept saying, with the what was the priorities for the race course, and we finally kind of figured that out by the second race yesterday, and that was just in time, I think.
Right, and in that medal race you got a great pin end start. That was don't remember seeing you at the pin end that often. Is that right, John?
No, we're not. We're generally either the boat or on port.
Right. That's right, you do a lot of port tack starts. So what was the thinking behind the pin end start this time round?
We just decided we'd start wherever we saw the pressure, and then the Germans were down at the pin, so it made it a bit easier. It was another reason to be there.
Right.
And luckily for us, they didn't lay and had to jibe round, which put us on a nice lay line for it.
Okay.
And it's always strong to come off the pin, so once we knew the German wasn't going to get him and he was on our hip, it was quite a nice place for us to be next to him, and we could kind of control the race a bit from there.
And occasionally we've seen with the pin end boat, it has worked a lot of the time, like it did with you today, but sometimes the boats that start in the middle get a different breeze and they start lifting off from you, and there's nothing you can do down here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even a pin end start is not a guarantee of success here, is it, Anna?
No, not at all. To be honest, a lot of the starts have been we've just wanted to get out the line and so we can start the race, if you know what I mean, because it's the start's either not had much impact or it's just too hard to tell where the pressure's going to come in, because like you say, it could be in the middle of the line and then 10 meters to leeward, you're not really in the pressure, so it's hard to it's certainly hard to win every start, and we're just kind of aiming to get out to start the race.
In fact, the races we won were our two worst starts this week. We got held out of the boat in one and won the race.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, and the races we felt we really nailed the start. We were round at the top mark, probably 8 for 12 or something.
So sometimes it seemed, maybe this is more in the skiff classes, but coming round a bit later around the windward mark and sort of being forced to do the jibe set sometimes put you into a better position, which you wouldn't have been able to do if you were in the front 5 or 10, because there'd be just too much bad air to make that move. Do you ever feel that in the Nacra?
Yeah, the Nacra's a real killer because we've got the spreader leg, and if you jibe set and the fleet's coming around the spreader, you literally go back up where you've just come from. And so it's you've got to not just do the jibe set and sail a bit high to get clear, you've got to cover the whole length of the spreader and then find the clean air, so it's a real big punishment. But
yeah,
it's always scary that the group behind will go and you didn't have the option.
I'm thinking, have you guys really had a proper break? You've won the silver medal at the games, you then went and did the Europeans in Thessaloniki, you won that, you've now won the World Championship. When are you guys going to actually have a rest? I'll ask you, Anna.
Well, we're staying in Oman for the next 2 days, so that'll be a nice little holiday.
48-hour holiday.
Yeah,
okay,
that'll be good.
Lovely.
And then, we're not planning to sail in December.
Next week, no?
We're training every day, actually, yeah.
You're not?
No break. No. It's a bit cold in the UK.
Maybe January or February we'll start sailing again properly.
Okay.
Really, we've just done the racing at the Europeans and then the racing here, just because we didn't want to miss regattas, because we'd literally, outside the Olympics, nothing's happened, so I think it's quite easy to lose that skill set, and there's so little time really until Paris now.
True. And then the game is changing anyway because of the rudder elevators and the configuration of the boat. So Anna, when is that coming in?
I think we'll be getting the new elevators around about Christmas time, but that shouldn't make much of a difference performance-wise. It's kind of just a safety thing. And then the rudder rake adjustment system, we'll be getting that in January probably, and there'll be a lot to learn with that for sure, so quite a lot of testing to do.
It was a game changer going from Rio with the low riding boats, and the French dominated that era, and then the Italians and yourselves have really set down a marker for the last 4 years. How much is it going to change the game again with the new technology coming in?
I think it's a much smaller change. Obviously we went from non-foiling to foiling, and now I think it's a subtlety rather than a absolute game changer, but there'll definitely be a lot more. Everything boat handling will change because you have to adjust the rudders every manoeuvre. Starting may be different, you may want less off the line, but I think there will be little details everywhere that we need to learn, so it will be a time on the water thing again.
Yeah, and John, have you got as much passion for it now as you did 20 years ago whenever you set out on this Olympic road?
Yeah, no, we're really enjoying it, and it's been a long journey to get to a stage where we're medaling at regattas, and we're going to enjoy it while we can.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't call it a habit yet, Anna, but it's starting from the outside to look like a habit. I mean, just a phenomenal 18 months since winning that world title in Geelong in what seems like a lifetime ago, in a pre-COVID era. And since then, just an amazing performance. So congratulations to you both. And I hope you enjoy your 2 days holiday here in Oman, and I hope you have a bit more of a holiday when you get back home.
Thank you.
Guys, congratulations. World champions for the second time round. Thank you.
Cheers, Andy.
Thanks a lot.
All right, cheers. So that was our 3 World Championships wrapped up for the day. I'm going to see if I can get my cohorts back in so that they can join me to say goodbye to you. It's been an absolute privilege to cover these World Championships and to enjoy the racing so close up here in Oman. We've seen 3 world titles decided in very short order today, and isn't it strange how we've got this special magic in the water here? We've got the boyfriend and the girlfriend winning the championships together in the 49er and the 49erFX, and we've got John and Anna, who have been going out for a couple of years now, winning the world title for the second time. I'm increasingly thinking that Chris Museler and Nura Ruskula aren't coming back. I think they must have interviewing duty to do out there. So I'm going to wind up now. I've been Andy Rice. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage over the last few days. We've seen some fantastic racing. Thanks to the Icarus boys behind me. Thanks to Ben Ramoka running the class association, Oman Sale, and the Barcelona Hotel that has hosted us here so brilliantly. They've looked after us so well. For the time being, that's all the 49erFX and Nacra racing that we have to bring you. We will be back next year for the World Championships in Nova Scotia at the end of August, and many other regattas in between. Life on the road is coming back. The regatta circuit is coming back, and we've just seen the best championship since in the new Olympic cycle since Tokyo 2020. This is the conclusion of the 49er, the 49erFX and Nacra 17 World Championships. I hope you've enjoyed it. Bye for now.
بتراثنا الحضاري تفردنا، وبتاريخنا العريق ازدهرنا. ثقافتنا المتأصلة وموروثاتنا الأصيلة عكسنا ارتباطنا بالبيئة والمجتمع اللي تجسد من خلالها تفاصيل عاداتنا وتقاليدنا، من لبسنا وفنوننا الشعبية، احتفالاتنا، عاداتنا وتقاليدنا. تعاهدنا نستمر في تجديد ولائنا كل عام. سلامنا وازدهارنا وحبنا وتسامحنا يزيد، وتبقى أنت وطننا اللي ما مثلك وطن. أنا عماني وفخري بلادي.
طاقة جعلت منا كيانا واحد
وحافزا
واسما
إلى مزيد من الرقي والتطوير،
جمع قرونا من التاريخ التليد وشاهدا على أعوام من التلاحم والتكاتف انحنت له كل صعاب، وسطرنا بعده أجمل إنجازاتنا، وهنا خطونا خطواتنا الأكبر. ومثل أي شيء إذا اتحد يكون أقوى، بعطائنا، بقيمنا الماجدة الراسخة. كلما دعينا للبذل في ساحة الميدان نكون أولا، نحيط الجميع بعناية. نصنع حلولا تفيد المجتمع. تفاصيل هي أولى اهتماماتنا. بكل ما أوتينا من شغف وطموح واتحاد وقوة، اليوم هو انعكاسات الغد المشرق.
إن شراكة المواطنين في صناعة حاضر البلاد ومستقبلها
ذلك المستقبل الذي لطالما عملنا لأجله.
نتفاعل معه ونؤثر فيه ونتأثر به.
نراه في منتجاتنا بكل فخر، في مواردنا البشرية الكفء، في مشاريعنا التي ننافس نغير بها المعالم. هي طاقة لعماننا بلا حدود.